Hello everyone and welcome to a new video about, guess what, the Node Material Editor. I recently added new features, so it's going to be a short video, but I wanted to underline some of the cool features we added recently. So let's go back immediately to the Node Material Editor. Hello, old friend. By the way, just a quick message. If you like our videos, please tell us in the comments. Go to our forum, forum.babylonjs.com, and obviously, if you want to, just subscribe to the to this channel. It should be okay. Let me try to do the professional YouTuber. Somewhere here, there is a something you can click to subscribe to the channel. Okay, so let's go back to our enemy project. So nothing new here. I'm gonna just hide myself actually and just keep that here. Okay, you see here we have as before the blocks. We added more blocks, trying to make sure that we have all the blocks we need before shipping the very first version of enemy. But today I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about something you should have already noticed. It's the grid. Now you have an option here to say my grid can be of any specific size like that, or you can also just turn off the grid by just setting the size to 0. So then the blocks will just move like that without any constraint, and you can at any point in time just turn the grid back. Let's say I want 40 here, and when you're going to move, it's going to stick. You will also notice that we are using the brand new graph engine that we built, and this time we have far more control than before. We were using a open source library, which was cool, but not under our control and not fast enough for us. Fast in terms of updating the control, obviously. So we decided to rewrite our own. It's now part of the Babylon.js open source project. You can have a look at it. And interestingly, now we can control, for instance, the way we have this tiny curve. The shape of them is better. So they are doing this kind of cool spline effect that gives us more information on where it comes from and where it goes. Okay. Other stuff that we are working on are the frames. The frames, you can activate them by using the Shift key, maintain while you select stuff. So for instance, let me select all of that, and that's going to be a frame. When moving the frame, everything will move with it, okay? And you can then collapse the frame like that, or expand it. You can collapse the frame, and that's pretty convenient, right? Because this way, you can have an entire shader, and let me give you an example of what I meant. That could just be part of a bigger object. So if you don't want your user or friends to see what you are working on, you just want to deliver an enemy object, it's interesting to just collapse it like that. So they will see, okay, that's my frame. Let's say it's my Uber shader, like that. Okay, you can pick a color for it. This one, for instance. Oops, sorry, I didn't validate it. So this one I said like here, and I validate. Okay, and that's what your user will see. They don't need to understand, if they don't want to, the inner working of your shader. That's pretty cool. And obviously you can expand it whenever you want. Okay, and that's now the frames. All right, we plan to use actually that frame as a way to export part of a shader. So let's say you are building a pretty complex function, and this function will be exposed from the frame itself. So in the future, you will see new buttons here like export or import, and we plan about adding some kind of a store where people can drop their own piece of code or piece of shader here, and using the frame. So there you will see something like, okay, I'm gonna import your Uber shader and mix that with my own code. It's gonna be cool. Thank you very much. It was all that I have today about enemy. See you next time. Bye-bye.